All right, guys. Hi, we're live for the first time. Uh, yeah, so how do I start this? Um, yeah, I don't know. Sorry that I had to push the stream like half a day of the schedule. Just I didn't sleep at all last night, like barely. So I don't even know why I scheduled it at like 10 in the morning. I'm like very much a nighttime owl. But we're here now, so as you can tell by the thumbnails, we're going to be discussing some pretty intense news reportings featuring children being harmed, neglected, and maltreated by predominantly their mothers. So I have just four specific news articles or like stories that we're going to be tackling tonight. Two of them being substantially bigger, more infamous than like the two other ones that I also found. But yeah, so if you guys haven't heard, we're going to be starting with this one, the most one of the most infamous news or tragedies that we have today. So, two children passed away in Detroit cold while sleeping in van, police say. The family was living in the van, and the belief is that they died of the cold, police said. Once again, I read a lot of the news, saw all the articles. Like there was no official like cause of death that's been determined by the medical examiners and the coroners or whatever, whoever's in charge. It's just speculation by the police. So we're gonna touch on, is this an actual, is it? No, this is something different. So first we're going to read the articles because I found some articles, and then we're going to watch some news article not just news articles, videos circulating talking about it, and then I'm going to try to the reason why I'm doing this is because I just want to get as much information and like perspective as possible because I have some things to say. I have some things to say. I have some questions about these entire situation. So we're going to just dive deep into this article, but let me just quickly, let me just check if there was any changes that they made because sometimes their articles, they will provide updates in the story. And I know that oh, there's a video. Wait. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Did they change it? Did they update it? Let me check. Oh no. Okay, so there's no new updates so far. This was posted on the 11th of 2025. And you know what? Let's just watch the video first. This one that they have. Any basic liners. Uh, do I want to put it here? Let's do it.
As questions continue swirling about the tragedy that happened in this casino parking garage in Detroit this week, police are revealing some new details. Interim Chief Todd Bettison says two adults and five children between the ages of 2 and 13 were living in the van.
From what I've been told, is that the mother had a lot of pride. She loved her kids, and she wanted to keep the family together.
This tragedy involving the death of a 2-year-old and 9-year-old is also a situation that has Detroit's Mayor Mike Duggan choked up.
It's a terrible day in Detroit as we deal with the tragic loss of two young people.
The mayor's revealing that family contacted the city on November 25th saying they needed a place to stay. However, he says there was no follow up from the family. And weeks later, Detroit announced adding hundreds of family shelter beds and drop in beds for vulnerable residents. Yet Duggan says no city staffer proactively reached back out to the family.
The heartbreaking part of this is that there were family shelter beds available just a few miles away.
Now, Duggan's asking the deputy mayor and director of housing services to spend the next 2 weeks evaluating the system.
Having services available doesn't mean very much if the residents who need them don't know how to access them.
Meantime, community members are stepping up to help the grieving family.
When we heard about the need, we jumped right into it, and there was no hesitation on our part to help this family in need at this time.
Among them, staff at the new McFall Brothers Funeral Home on Detroit's west side. Reverend Julius Baker says its team and vendors are meeting with the family and offering to help with funeral expenses.
Okay. All right. Let me just no. Oh, all right. So, based on the small information I had about the family, so again, there's a Detroit mother living in a van with her mother, an able-bodied woman, an adult, and six children. Apparently, one of them was an adult of adult age, and the remaining five were are presumably minors. They said between the ages of 2 to 13. So most of the people living in the van were children. Six children. One of them being an adult, and another adult woman, and the mother. So eight people in total in that van. Okay, we're going to just read further through the article to get more information because already, like, I just wanted to confirm some details because that's already like I have some questions already about like firstly like the location of where they were. But let's just read the article. So, two children in Detroit died of suspected exposure to the cold after being found unresponsive in a van where the family was living Monday, police said. The children, aged 2 and 9, were discovered not breathing by their mother at around noon. Another weird tidbit. All right. Detroit Police Captain Nathan Duda said there what the, they were taken to a hospital where they were pronounced dead, he said. The mother had parked the van on the ninth floor of Hollywood Casino's parking lot garage at around 1 a.m. Monday, and the vehicle ran out of gas sometime thereafter. Okay. So again, still just a little bit iffy. Why does she choose a casino parking garage? Like some people speculated because I've seen some videos of people reacting to the situation. She probably parked there to hide, to find out like a hiding spot for like her parking her car and like staying there without being like seen. Like, and I wanted to acknowledge that that is a possibility so she doesn't get like any parking tickets or whatever for just being parked there for so long while not being a customer at the casino. Still a little strange that she chose to park a casino, but there's so far there hasn't been any proof that the mother, you know, goes to the casino or uses the casino or is gambling there or anything like that. There hasn't been any statements releasing about that, so can't really speculate on whether the mother is a gambling addict or anything of that nature, or the grandmother or the adult child living there. But whatever. Uh, Duda told reporters in a video released by the police department. Five children and two adults were in the van, interim police chief Todd Bedison said at the news conference. The ages of the children are 13 to 2 years old, he said. Yep, we confirmed this. So one of her children is an adult and her grandmother also an adult, the rest being children. All right. The tragedy happened at Detroit, uh, as Detroit had temperatures of around 12 degrees early Monday morning, with wind chills of 6 degrees, according to National Weather Service. And here's the Hollywood casino parking. Yeah, we've seen it already. The mother first realized her 9-year-old son was not breathing and called, excuse me, keep burping, either a close friend or relative for help. Bedison said, what? Uh, why? Okay, all right. When the mother realized her son wasn't breathing, she did make a 911 call, but the friend in a Buick immediately transported the 9-year-old. Oh, okay, to the hospital. So, okay, so I'm assuming her friend works at this hospital, so I guess coincidence, whatever, he said. While en route to Child's Hospital, as they checked on the other children that were in the van, they realized at some point that the 2-year-old wasn't breathing anything. What the? Okay. You know what? I'm just going to save all my questions. I'm going to read it all first. Um, and so a telephone call was made to the friend to return so that the 2-year-old could be picked up, he continued. Video showed the entire family getting into the Buick where they were taken to Child's Hospital, the chief said. There is an open investigation by the police department, Duda said. Good. It has to be investigated, Duda said. I don't think anyone really wants to think about that moment where the two children pass, but the reality is that the circumstances do have to be examined. We have to figure out how to go forward. The family reached out to a homeless response team on November 25th and said they had been living with a family but could no longer stay there and needed a place to go, Mayor Mike Dugan told reporters. He said during the conversation there was no resolution reached out where they would go. For whatever reason, this wasn't deemed an emergency that caused an outreach worker to visit the family, the mayor said at the news conference. The family has also reached out in the summer and during the previous year. Okay. There were beds available at the shelter just a few miles from the casino, and a family drop in shelter was opened on December 16th. It's a terrible day in Detroit as we deal with the tragic loss of two young people. The police chief said he believed the family chose to seek shelter in the garage for safety because they could utilize the garage, the the casino bathrooms. He also said the family had moved around for various casino parking lots. At the casino, it's definitely free parking. It has an aspect of safety to it if you're going to be sleeping in a vehicle. Another aspect of it, you're able to go inside the casino and utilize restroom facilities. At some point, it was told by my detectives that yes, they would utilize casino restrooms. Duda said the situation was sad, especially as a father. I just can't imagine what the family is feeling, he said. Duda urges people to avail themselves to resources like shelter, blah, blah, okay. Blah, blah, blah. The other children are currently in care of other family members. Okay. There's several things of note. One noticeable thing, again, that I've already come to take into account, is that, again, on the morning of their passing, the mother discovered their state at noon, at around noon. I think some other articles said specifically 12:14 or 12:12, whatever, a little past noon. So that is a little bit concerning to me. Like the fact that it took you until past noon to realize that two of your children have passed on. Like, what happened to the other children? Were they there as well? Did they go to school? Because I'm gonna show you guys an interview that she went to by one of the news anchors, and my God, like there are some things that need to be said because she was talking, putting on that face. I'm gonna tell you, it took her until noon. Not just her, but the grandmother too, because I remembered in the interview that I'm gonna show you, she also mentioned noon as well. Like, or she was talking all sorts of like, I don't know what happened. I don't know. I don't know. Like that nonchalant response was really nerve-wracking to me. Like, you just, why are you even there? Like, I don't get it. But yeah, considering that not only was this mother homeless, but the grandmother was also homeless, and her adult child that was living there doesn't have a place to stay either. And the father of some of these children, some, I have to specify, I seemingly also didn't really have a place of his own to live. I'm gonna show you the interview with the father as well because like he's not, I'm gonna say it right here and then, he's not completely off the hook either. Like he's not, I'm not gonna completely defend the father. But you guys, like you would not guess how much of like these the internet people, especially the women on the internet who are reacting to this news, like on TikTok and all that, immediately went to blame the father for what happened to the children instinctively without even holding the mother any kind of accountability. Like it was so predictable and yet infuriating to see. Because like I said before, like the father is not completely off the hook either in my eyes. But like I'm not gonna sit there and like fall for this. The mother's like, she was tearing up and she was doing all that and like, and on one hand I'm like, I know she is upset. Like I do believe that she is upset generally that her children are dead, but it's just like I don't believe the mother is being completely intentional or honest, or she's doing everything in her power because she was spurring out like very typical responses. I asked for help. I asked for help, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna go through in a moment, but yeah. Second thing, again, she called her friend and not immediately the police. And I'm like, brought her to the child hospital, and then like, I first I thought, based on what they said, that I thought the friend was working at the hospital, but it just says right here that she called a close friend slash relative for help instead of calling the police immediately, and then proceeded to call the police. Like what? Why would you immediately proceed to call a friend or a relative of your child passing instead of calling the proper like emergency line? Like that was a bit off. I guess like the friend immediately took the children to the hospital. And also the fact that again she first realized the 9-year-old passed, and then later down the line discovered the 2-year-old also passed, like not at the same time. That was a bit like, and I'm pretty sure like there was also another article that mentioned the state in which the children were dressed. Like I remembered, like they said that the children were wearing like t-shirts, diapers, like briefs, like not even like proper winter attire. Like none of them, neither one of them appeared to had like winter gear on when it happened. And that was already just suspicious. So, what was the other thing? Yeah, the mayor mentioned that there were resources available for the last few months. Like they could have went to there were shelters available between like the months where she was homeless, because based on what this article was describing, like many other articles, it seems like they were Like they were homeless for approximately 3 months, like starting November all the way to February, like 3 or 4 months. And the the mayor of the city was saying that there were shelters available between those times, and for some reason she just did not choose to access any of them. And also school. There's the aspect of the schools. Like the mother was also saying that she was getting them dressed, she was getting them fed, she was getting them to school. I'm like, how the hell are they going to school from the casino parking lot to the schools? Like, how are they going to school? Like, are they taking the public bus? There's no way there's a school bus that goes through the casino all the way to a school. Like, what kind of school is located near a casino? Like, I just can't imagine how they would even be able to get to these schools in the first place. And considering that the mother and the grandmother woke up at noon, when you know that and school starts like early in the morning, like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, somewhere around those lines, and the mother wakes up at noon to discover her children passing in the car. Something tells me that they weren't these children were not consistently going to school, because again they would have transcripts, they would have proof. Like when the police goes to that investigation, I'm going to take pay attention to that aspect, like them going to school, and also being fed every day. Like, you mean like McDonald's and Taco Bell, or probably, hopefully at the very least, like food banks. Like I'm pretty sure the closest thing to nutritional meals that they can get are like food from the food banks, because they're usually like prepared and advanced. Because like, yeah, they're being fed every day, but they don't have basic clothing, they don't have a home to stay at. Okay. Yeah, those are pretty much my biggest rants at the moment. So we're gonna watch the other news videos, because I want to show you guys what this mom was doing. Oh, 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 oh. I'm gonna save that later. The Facebook thing, we're gonna save it. This should be, no, that's something different. There we go. I think this is one of the news articles right here.
It's peekaboo and patty cake. 1-year-old Kiera plays with her mom, Dana Bledsoe, while 9-year-old Nakia watches TV. Their belongings in bags on the floor. This is one of the many families in need of housing.
Everybody is saying that we're full.
Raquel Bledsoe is Dana's sister. She says she's been trying to find a safe place for them to go. Right now, they're with her, but she rents a flat in.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Is this the same woman? Oh, no, 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 no. No, that's not. Whoops. Whoopsie. Oh, two children. Let's. Oop, divert. Oh, oh. Uh, video. Short videos. Okay. There we go. This should be one. These should be this. Yeah. This is the interview.
Truth
Oh,
is, you can beat cold sores with an antiviral. Abreva, get back to being you faster.
I started using custom hair care products from Pros
Okay.
after I started suspecting that I was using the wrong products for my straight hair.
But for
Okay, so this is like the interview segments here. We got Yeah, this is the mother right here. We're going to be primarily focusing on her interview with, I guess this is a Detroit local news channel. So, yeah, this is her interview right here. And yeah, I want you guys to pay close attention to because there's some things I gotta say.
first breaking news in the sibling tragedy that shook Metro Detroit after two kids died of apparent hypothermia in a casino parking garage. Welcome to 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Simon Shaket. This story has devastated our area. Just moments ago, 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham talking with the mother of those two children.
Darren joining us live right now from Detroit's west side with more from their conversation. And Darren, so many people talking about this. This is simply heartbreaking.
Very heartbreaking, Carolyn Simon. Moments ago, I did have the opportunity to speak to Tatiana Williams, who lost her 9-year-old and her 2-year-old, also in the vehicle at the time, her 4-year-old and her 8-year-old. Also, Tatiana's mother and her two siblings, a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old, also stay in that vehicle. She tells me that she has been.
Okay, so all right, 13, 17. So not a full adult, I guess, technically legal adult, but still technically a minor. A bit wrong, but 17 and 13-year-old, 4, 8, or 4, 9, 8, 4, and 2. Yeah, again, she continuously hopping out children that she was probably most definitely struggling to take care of on her own. And the father was just not fully present. Didn't ask him to be on child support. Like, a little bit shocked because nowhere in these articles mention when it comes to the relationship between the the mother and the father. Because I heard that first of all that the bio dad is only the bio dad to like 3 of those children. So she has other baby fathers I'm not aware of, but not fully confirmed. But I've heard that not all of those children belong to the father. And this article this news interview video that we're going to be examining after. But like, yeah, like if it's true that that the father that he's only the father of 3 of those children, like, we need an explanation again. Potential baby daddies who are not in those children's lives or not even contributing in any way, hey, not financially, not physically, not anything. A mother who is reckless with her womb, just throwing it around at different men. A grandmother who's just blase blase, not doing anything either. Like, these children are living with bum ass adults all around the corner. Very unfortunate for these kids. So devastating for these children to have disappointments for parents and adult figures. Nonetheless, we're just gonna keep going because there is still a lot to deep. And again, this is just the first story. Like, we need to get going here.
Homeless for 3 months and that she is trying to do better for herself, trying to get back on her feet. She told me she's a CNA, a medical assistant, and that she was actually about to start a new job tomorrow. And so I did speak with her and I asked her, one of the questions I did ask her was to take me back to yesterday.
Okay, so they did finally mentioned her job. So she is a CNA, which whatever. But they're saying that she's starting her employment tomorrow. So was she employed beforehand or was she just in training? Like, a little bit confused about that aspect because I think she's gonna dive a little bit deeper into like her occupation, but also needing to know like the grandmother couldn't get a job, didn't seem to have a job. The baby daddy, I don't know if he even has a job. It's like, all right.
Yesterday, I woke them up to wake them up from school.
Mm-hmm.
My son wasn't moving. And I kept saying, Freddie, please get up. Please. Please, for me, just get up. Don't do this to me. And I tried to give him CPR because I'm a senior and a medical assistant. I've been working there since I was 17. I tried to give him CPR.
Medical assistance at 17? I- That might be okay. Yeah, I think it's possible because I don't know. She could have been in college, or she could be like near college age at that time. So could be possible, but we'll see. Like she said, she's been working since she's 17. She's in her early 30s, allegedly. So she should have had a good advancement in her career. So just saying.
And I was just giving him CPR. I just kept saying, Freddie, don't leave me. Don't leave me, please. I saw the green and brown stuff come out his mouth. I instantly rushed him to the hospital. I was yelling out the window, stop, stop, stop. We got to get through traffic. My baby, he's dying. We get to the hospital. I told valet, can you go get some help? He took too long, so I got out the car to get help. They came to the car, instantly grabbed my baby out and said, get a stretch. He's not breathing. Help. Cold blue. Everybody tried. I didn't even know my 2-year-old was dying. I was in it with my 9-year-old. And they brought her in right after they pronounced him dead. And my mama came to me, she said, Yaya. That's what we call her, but her name is Amelia. We just call her Yaya. And they said she wasn't breathing. And they pronounced her dead too.
Ah, okay. I don't know about this, and this might come off a little bit insensitive, but it feels to me feels like tiny part of this comes across of like her trying to shed tears because like not a single tear had dropped into her eyes, and it feels like she's trying to force them and down to some extent. I know it sounds a bit awful what I'm saying because I do believe to an extent that she is like grieving for the actual death of their children to some extent, but like I don't know because another part of me feels like she's trying to force these emotions out and like putting like in a sense putting an act, or at the very least exaggerating it a bit to make it coming across of like her trying to convince everyone else that she's sad more than her actually being sad. And I'm gonna tell you why like after, because there's one little tiny clip that I found that is pretty damning on her part, but we gotta go through this.
I asked everybody for help. I called out of state. I called cities I didn't know. I called cities people asked me to call. I even asked Detroit. I've been on cam list for the longest. Everybody now wants to help. After I lost 2 kids, I've been asked for help. I feel like it wasn't their time. I did everything I was supposed to do. They had everything. Everything they wanted.
Excuse me. They had everything they wanted, but did they have everything that they needed? Like, again, a house to stay at, like 3 months. Like, wasn't there also like, don't you have like government assistant programs? There isn't there like Section 8 that you can apply for? There's subsidies like welfare. There's once again child support. Like There are many, many options, and like the mayor pointed out, like there were shelters available during the times where you were homeless. Like to me, it didn't seem like she utilized every option out there. Like I think a part of that could have been just like her being desperate or not really thinking clearly. Like it could be that can be understandable to some point, but it's like you could have looked up stuff online, like while your kids were at school, if they were even consistently at school for that matter. All right.
Only thing I didn't have was a house.
Mm-hmm.
But from
Like the bare minimum necessity, you didn't have that.
electronics to clothes, anything they asked me for, my kids didn't even get whooped. I lost the one who made me a mother. I lost a 2-year-old. It hurt losing 2 kids in one night. You know, I don't wish this on nobody. And if you can get help, please go get help. Because I don't want nobody else to go through what I'm feeling. Just wherever you can get help from, if it's not from the city, the state, no other city or state, just go. Like, you don't have to suffer.
Just very, very, very heartbreaking. The new McFall brothers funeral home is covering the children's burial plans and funeral expenses. Williams, 29, she's 29 years old. She is also
Okay.
receiving help from Detroit Power Detroit, that organization. That's the building that we're actually standing outside of here, where we spoke to her not long ago. And so, anyone who is interested in helping her family, we'll be sure to get that information on our website, WXYZ.com. And 7 News Detroit will have more from Williams on later versions of 7 News Detroit. Live on the west side, Darren Cunningham.
All right. Like I'm just gonna say it flat out, right? Like no, take those kids away from these parents. Like they should not be in their custody because they're not in a state where they can take care of them. Like no, like I'm just saying it flat out. Like take these kids away from them. Let them go. All right, so we're just going to before we talk more about the mother's side, we're going to be talking about the father's side, or allegedly one of the father's sides. This guy right here, because he made some comments here. Annoying ads.
Right now, we're going to turn to our other big story of the night. A father speaking to us tonight after learning 2 of his kids died from exposure to the cold in a casino parking lot.
Yesterday, 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham spoke to the mother of those 2 kids about the tragic situation.
Yesterday, I woke them up to wake them up from school.
At noon, yeah. Wake them up at noon.
At the moment he learned 2 of his children had passed away.
Darnell Curry Sr. wiped away tears while talking with me about his children, Darnell Jr. and Amelia, and the distressing phone call he says he took from their mother, Tatiana Williams, on Monday.
I went to the gym. As soon as I got on the treadmill, she called saying, can I make it to the hospital right now? They gone.
All right. My immediate impression is he's also giving off like very much nonchalant, like attitude behavior, and that's already kind of like, yeah, nah, I'm not feeling him at all. Like, and I'm assuming that the 2 children, those are his biological children as well, like specifically. But like already, and again, like this is where the most controversy has came in because on TikTok and on the social medias, a lot of these people, especially the women's, were talking so much about the baby daddy not being there, like, and like essentially blaming it solely or primarily on him for not being there for the mother, as if the mother isn't also accountable for her part at all either. Either like, well, we're gonna go through first of what he has to say because, let's see, I think I do see some tears from him.
Hoping it was
Like his eyes are Slightly red, slightly
Sick
glittery.
joke, but there wasn't.
Yeah, I do see some tear lines.
According to
So
Detroit
it's
police, 9-year-old Darnell Jr. and 2-year-old Amelia died while sleeping in a vehicle at the Hollywood Casino at Greektown parking garage. Investigators say the cause appears to be hypothermia, a tragedy stemming from homelessness.
I tried. I asked for help. I asked everybody, even people out of state. But I tried. I tried to keep hotels. I tried to pay people to stay there. It wasn't working for me. You know, people just didn't like too many kids at their house.
I spoke with the children's mother Tuesday evening. She told me she's been living in her vehicle for 3 months,
okay, I got.
along with her 4 kids, her mother, and 2 teenage siblings. She says she reached out to Curry, who's the father of 3 of her children.
There you go.
I asked him, I said, can you get your kids for me? I said, I need help. You know I'm homeless. I done kept a room.
Okay, so this is where the interesting part came from because that was not even included here. You asked him for help. He knew they were homeless, and like some women were arguing at this point, like, why didn't he just come see his kids? Why didn't he pick up his kids? Which is a valid argument in and of itself, but you can also flip it on the other side as well. Like, why didn't she just bring the kids to him, and specifically tell them from the beginning, I'm homeless, my children need a place to stay, or bring the kids directly to him. But I need to play this because there's more information about the father's living situation that needs to be brought up. I mentioned it before, but I want you to see this too.
This long, I couldn't keep it no more.
They were homeless. Had Tatiana ever reached out asking to?
No, she did not. All she said was, "Can I get them? Can I get them just to get them? And can I get them because y'all homeless?" That's 2 different things.
She said she had been homeless for 3 months.
Say, I saw it. That's what I saw, about 3 months, but she ain't never said nothing to me. Nothing. So all them other sob stories, they can cut all that. No, she did not.
Okay, and I this is the biggest like contempt contemptual part of this whole thing because like on one hand I can see again like based on their relationship that what was I gonna say? Like, my God, it's slipping in my eye, in my the back of my head. It's like, yeah, like she didn't specify. Once again, she never specified that her children were like freezing and at a point of like starvation or in serious need of like help. But like, yeah, sir, you can still help. You can at least try to do something. But on the other hand, it was like, yeah, both of you can do something. But like, and that was one of the arguments that a lot of the internet people were bringing up, which is again still very much a valid point. Like, he could have still stepped up and tried to help as well, but also she could have also taken any initiative and actually, bring the children to him as well. Both of them should have stepped up together and start co-parenting. It's like, and that's my biggest point here is like, why she have primary custody of the children if she cannot cannot take care of all of them by herself? And why did he just sit there and allow that to happen? Like, sir, you would have known, like, she cannot take care of all these children all by herself. Like, both of you, you should have at least contributed in some type of way. At least give child support, give some assistance, or at least work to some sort of like 50-50 agreement, or help her out some way. And like, she should have also thought twice before taking taking on children that she cannot take care of all by herself, especially if she doesn't have like a consistent like housing, she doesn't have consistent employment because they only touch deeply on the employment. She doesn't seem to be making enough money or consistent amount of money to afford a house. And you sir don't seem there is no information about your sense of employment. But like, okay. And once again, just your nonchalant, like overall demeanor isn't really making out to be good either. It's like none of the adults are serious to me. That's what it's coming off as. Let's look up here.
Curry, who lives in Novi, says
And that's
Williams
here.
never specified why she wanted to drop their kids off to him.
She just asked, can I get them for a couple of days? But I told her I'm working and all that, and I'm out here. We're not close to each other, so I couldn't. But she knows all my family is right around the corner from her.
Did she reach out to any of your family?
No, she did not. And she knows she could have, like we always used to do.
He says the last time he held his children was a month or two ago, and that they typically FaceTime, moments he will miss.
And there's a, police investigation into this. What is it you would like to see come of this? Obviously, nothing's going to bring back your 9-year-old and your 2-year-old.
Okay. So I think he said like the accent's a little bit like slightly difficult to pull off. Like the monotone voice is making it hard, but it seems like he does have a job. But I'm pretty sure there was an interview clip of the mother saying that he told her that he could not take in his kids because his girlfriend wouldn't allow it. And based on like that the message, it seemed like he didn't have a home. He did not have a place to live. Seemingly, like I'm not sure, it's not confirmed. Like it made it seem like he was living with the girlfriend. He did not have a home, and he was living in his girlfriend's home. Which, if that's the case, that's one thing. Like we got another parent who's clearly homeless, doesn't have their own place. But but if he has a home and his girlfriend living there, and she's like telling him like, no, you can't bring your kids here. I don't want you. I'm like, sir, like, come on. Like, don't pick your girlfriend over your kids. Don't let your girlfriend decide whether or not you get to bring your kids over, especially in an emergency situation. Like, that's how heartless of her and how, frankly, heartless of you if that's the case. If that's the case, if he's the one who owns a home and she's living with him, that's kind of like makes you look even worse than before. But you if you're the one living at her place, like already bummy in and of itself, like another bum on top of bum on top of bum.
Don't even matter to me. Can't get them back, so it's whatever.
Darren Cunningham, 7 News Detroit.
No, you cannot get them back. Our heart aches for this family. I mean, there's so many people reaching out, trying to help. And, I would just say, I mean, to anybody in our community, if your children are cold and go inside somewhere, beg for help if you can, so nothing like this ever happens again.
And as I learned today, there are shelters. In those kind of situations, even if it's not ideal, shelters are your best policy at that moment.
Shelters.
Okay, yeah, that's the end of that. So yeah, I already said my piece here. Like saying it's whatever, it's kind of a bit cruel of you to say, but I do generally understand the sentiment of like there's nothing else you can do. Like I'm like and I'm like over overall just like yeah, in the comments you can see right here that like yeah, they're very much ripping the father a new one. They're not holding bars. Here, you can see the comments calling him a deadbeat, which to an extent is fair. I do agree to a point. It's just deadbeat with deadbeat with deadbeats. But it's like the overall attitude is like okay. Okay.
But first,
Let me just compare like the two the comments here because they were again, you saw that they were ripping it on the father, but with the mother, it's like, oh my God, you see the staunch different replies. Like they're substantially more sympathetic with the mother. All right, you can see the again the need to avoid it, like take away accountability from her and put her and put more sympathy onto her, despite not holding her accountable for not thing and even calling out people who are trying who are heavily critical of the mother, and also like I would say also by extension the grandmother. Like you can you can see the difference here. Comment do better, demonize the mothers. We struggle or face homelessness at the end of their life. Like you need help, you need help. I can guarantee you if that father was the one in in that position, the one living in the van with all those killed children, and he has like a grandfather who is also homeless and unemployed, seemingly unemployed, like they would not give him the same level of sympathy as that mother and grandmother. Oh my God. Uh, like still to this day. Mm. That's just a little bit pissy to me because again, and as much sympathy that they're giving her, because I want to show you guys this thing, the Facebook thing I have. It's some interesting developments here. Apparently, let me just show you here. There's allegedly this. The mother was allegedly seen at a party. These are apparently like her relatives, her cousins. I'm assuming that's from her side of the family who was just dancing. I think like this is probably like the day or a couple of days after her children, and maybe even before. I can't really tell the timeline. Let me just. All right, we got the point here. She was allegedly dancing and twerking out to at a party somewhere. Okay, so it's been a week. Tatiana Williams, mother of children who passed from hypothermia in Detroit, Michigan. It has been a week since okay the passing of Tatiana's two kids who were sleeping in a van. They were allegedly five people living in a vehicle at the time. Oh my God, all right. On Wednesday, apparently, I also read another like recent new development. Like the update is that the city of Detroit and the Detroit Rescue Mission Ministries provided a home for free for a year. Chad Audie, president and CEO of blah blah blah, decided to coordinate and give her a home. And they even had a GoFundMe open for her children. Like they're already like they're literally already have it in their a lot of people have it in their mind that she's just this poor victim of circumstance, and it shows a blatant again, like I mentioned earlier, a double standard when it comes to women who are financially struggling, especially those who have children, versus men who are financially struggling, because again, a man would never be given this type of sympathy if he was financially struggling and to keep himself afloat, especially if he was taking care of children. The people there would assume that the father is just some irresponsible, uh, financially reckless man who got himself into it and exclude all external factors that potentially led to him in struggling as well. But with the mother or the woman, they only want to paint her as just a victim of outside circumstances and not take into account her personal decisions that led to these outcomes, especially once again if there are children involved. Like most of these men would not be given that same level of compassion. And then there's people who are trying to defend this video of her, like, yeah, who's children, yes, yeah, allegedly seen twerking and turning up to Glorilla and Bossum Doll on Facebook Live last night. Like, look at this, look at this. People cope with this ish differently, and I've seen this in multiple places, not just Facebook. I've seen it on Twitter too. When this video was clipped on Twitter, people are trying to defend. This is how she copes. Like, my God, when you sit in sorrow, you drown in it. And I don't care what anyone says. You don't know until you experience that shit or go through some similar. Everyone has their opinion and blah 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 blah. Again, you would not have that opinion if it was the father who was doing that. Like you all already thought that the father of the children in that interview was just heartless, did not give a damn, and wasn't really sorry or anything. But when the mother is sitting there just partying like nothing ever happened, forgetting the fact that there's other children there, probably being taken care of by her mother. She's just wilding out and partying. Y'all want to sit there and defend her coping with that. Like, again, I'm sorry, guys. I'm keep repeating myself, but double standards here are insane. Just all around bad. Like, you people already have your preconceived notions just tied up by this news alone. No investigation. Like, you guys do realize that there's an ongoing investigation, and the cause of death has not been officially confirmed to be hypothermia, nor has there been any additional details of the state of these children. And right, like we don't have full details of that stuff. Oh God, I'm so mad. Oh, my computer's lagging. Oh no. Just hope it's not. Sorry, just checking. Oop. Let me just close this link because we already got it settled. They're giving her a home. Oh, there's more text messages here. Like the clips have social media on fire, with some saying she's disrespecting her children's memory, while they're arguing that everyone grieves in their own way. Like, yeah, I do get that, but like going to a party, like this comment here saying, where are her other kids while she's at a great time? Once again, probably with the grandmother. When I lost my kid years ago, shit, I couldn't barely breathe for a long time. She's fake crying, and now she knows she put her kids in the car. Okay, this is again speculation here. Or let's see, more, blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. With her two teenagers. Yeah, there. Okay, so Danielle Curtis here, the father of three of her children, asked her to pick her up, but he didn't. He claimed they're asking to pick up his children, asked her two different things. Blah blah blah. I think the point he's trying to make is that she did not make it seem like it was an emergency. That she was just like it made it seem like she wanted time away from the kids. I do understand where that point was coming from. Not really the most well elaborate point, but it's like he probably assumed that she just wanted time away from her kids, probably to do this, her partying somewhere. She's probably that type of single mom who just goes out to party and leaves her kids with the parents and on a frequent basis. There are parents in general who do that, which means again, yeah, come to find out, he's living with his current girlfriend, who lives with her parents, meaning he's technically homeless too. So he couldn't take in his kids because he didn't have a place for them either. It takes two. So again, two bums procreating, procreating without financial planning. Of the kids. Neither of them are taking care of the kids. I don't. Who's taking care of the kids? Nobody. Nobody. Like you do. Like again, if it hasn't been fully confirmed. Like the GoFund. Let me see the GoFundMe. And I know I've been dragging the story out, but I just wanted to finalize my thoughts because again, this is still an ongoing story. There's no full investigation. Like this already. And I'm pretty sure he's not the one who made it, right? Like I saw some women saying that he made the GoFundMe. No, it says right here the Javania M is on organizing the fundraiser. It's not. I don't know if this is like the friend, the mother. Sure. Her only fault was her pride, and that's gut blurring. Like some people speculated that she did have a sense of pride, that she's gonna utilize all of her resources, and that could be ish. But like, let's see, protecting her baby, blah blah blah. She did best. Well, granted, I guess I'll give her tiny little bit of flack because she was not only supporting just her children, but her mother as well. Like, because again, her mother, the grandmother, wasn't didn't seem like she was employed either, nor did she seem to have a home. So it's just a bunch of homeless, again, adults raising children. Oh my God. And that's up there. So they raised like over 50,000 US dollars. The organizer has currently disabled new donations, so they stopped receiving funds. They took the 50,000 and 50K and ran. Okay, so there's nothing else here. So even it's just again another interesting again point of the statement again. So I mean I okay, let me let me chill. The interesting point again, this double standard of again, both the mother, the father, and the grandmother were all homeless, seemingly not employed, didn't have a place to stay, and yet you're judging the father more than the mother. Like at this point, you should just judge them equally because neither one of them had the basic need, had their children's basic needs in order. Neither one of them should have had custody of all of their kids. Like parents who actually have a home should be the ones taking care of the kids. They should have given their kids away to someone that can actually provide for them. It's ridiculous. But here we go. Like she gets a home for losing kids. I feel like that's just kind of like a slap in the face, a little bit, tiny bit. It'd be reassuring for the other kids, but like I think the best reassurance for these other kids is to give them away to parents that can actually provide for them because God forbid, like, does she have a stable income? Like, is she financially stable? She cannot be relying on assistance forever. Okay, I think I'm gonna end a little bit here because yeah, I'm gonna save it for and I found some Instagram, like I have Instagram clips here because we can talk more about the comments, but like I want to get through the other stories because I already said what it mostly I have to say about all this again and again. There's nothing more to discuss. Like we already saw the newest update. She got a home for losing her two kids again. So yeah, that's going to be the end of her for now. So yeah, we're going to be talking about another news story here. Uh, another seemingly more just as graphic news. A Michigan mother was arrested for abandoning three of her four kids, the three kids living in a squatter home for 4 years. 4 years. Yeah, very bad. And I think 3 out of 4 because she has four children. And based on these news articles, one of the children is with his or her biological father, and that father has full custody of that child. And seemingly, since the three other children were not with that father, that leads me to believe that that father is not the biological father of the three other kids, i.e., she also has multiple baby daddies. Yeah, we're keeping that pattern afloat. So this is the article that I have. Like you can keep looking at many other articles, but we have in this one this article also has a video attached. So we're gonna watch the video. We're gonna read the articles. I'm gonna keep some notes, and then I'm gonna talk. Let's just play.
Horrible knowing what those kids went through for years inside of this home. The condition's so bad that we're told it's actually dangerous to be inside there, but thankfully it was the landlord who called 911 after not hearing from the mother since about December.
Everybody's upset. Everybody's upset about it. Like, oh my God, this is right in our neighborhood. How could something like this happen?
A welfare check leads to a disturbing discovery in Pontiac. Lydia Lane has never been a place where Emma Gross would imagine three kids will be living on their own in deplorable conditions.
It's pretty heartbreaking that the kids would have to live under those conditions.
These pictures are just a glimpse into the home of 12, 13, and 15-year-old siblings who police say were living in a house so unsanitary, evidence techs had to wear hazmat suits to investigate. We're talking piles of garbage in rooms as high as 4 feet tall and human feces overflowing in toilets and bathtubs.
I mean, these poor kids have basically been locked in this building for years with no adult, guidance, education, basic food.
Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard says the kids were living on food that was either prepared by their mother or a stranger that would leave meals on the porch from time to time.
The only thing that comes to my mind is when you see those horrific ads where they're trying to get donations for animals left in terrible situations, kind of multiply that by 10, and these kids have been living in that for years.
No personal hygiene items were ever left, including the basic necessities such as toilet paper. Apparently the mother would talk to the son, but had not spoke or seen the girls in years.
She's been taken into custody. She was living elsewhere in Pontiac.
The kids were taken to the hospital for evaluation. Right now the goal is getting them cleaned up.
our first focus is in trying to make sure these kids get what they need to begin the process of moving forward.
Absolutely disgusting. Like this, very heartbreaking. Like, and also like any other story as well. Like, imagine the conditions that those other kids were living in, cramped up in a car, not even having full basic privacy, comfort, like full-blown security. But at least they had like bathrooms and like functioning, like like hopefully hygiene tools and all that stuff. They seemingly had access to that, but these kids didn't even have proper access to hygiene. And judging by the pictures we see right now of this bathroom, ugh, these rooms, they said in the news that there's feces inside this all over it. I'm assuming that the mother did not pay for the water bill. The heating, probably not either. Maybe not even electricity. Who knows? I probably just paying rent, and even still, absolutely tragic. Possibly even worse than the first, a little bit. So again, we're gonna, yeah, let's read this article right here and take some notes. Okay. Michigan mother is facing charges of child abuse after her three abandoned children were found living alone in an extreme squatter for years. All of us are asking, how the heck did this happen? How did no one know? Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard asked during a news conference Tuesday after detailing the horrific conditions inside the Pontiac, Michigan, I guess. I don't townhouse condo where the kids were discovered. Bouchard called the living conditions where the three children, aged at this time 15, 13, and 12, were found abused of the high we were found abuse of the highest order. Garbage was piled high on the floor. Human excrement and mold were found all over the house, and the toilet was overflowing where officers arrived at the scene last Friday after the landlord requested a welfare check. The landlord told police he hadn't received a rental check for several months and that the kids' mothers had stopped communicating with him. Bouchard also said the two sisters and their brother did not have access to basic hygiene items like toilet paper. They slept on mattresses and pizza boxes on the floor, and their toenails were so long it was painful for them to walk. They had been deprived of any interaction with their mother and had not received an education for years. Bouchard said in a statement, the far-reaching consequences of the abuse must be acknowledged. And then there's screenshots here that we're gonna read right after we read the article. And here's some pictures again, very, very filthy, very concerning. The case against the 34-year-old mother who has not been named to protect the identity of her three children was given to the prosecutor's office on Monday for review. These three kids were entrusted in the care of their mother, and the evidence suggests that she effectively abandoned them to a revolting pit of refuge and squalor, said Karen McDonald, the Oakland County prosecutor in suburban Detroit, after the child abuse charges were laid Wednesday. What stands out the most to me is no love, McDonald said later during a new conference. There was nothing there to care for them. The children were covered in feces, and the girls had trouble walking outside the home, she said. At a hospital, they struggled with flushing a toilet and brushing their teeth because they had not done it in years, the prosecutor added. Bouchard said The three children have been taken to the doctor for a health checkup and are currently in the case of social services. He said there already been amazing progress in all three are th- and all three, and thank the public for clothing donations for the kids. And there's the link for that. Having had some tender love, having had some supportive care, having been put in new clothing for some basic hygiene. The one the one detective said the little girl was talking quite a bit, so that's super exciting. Boucard said errors in school enrollment process allowed all three children to slip through the cracks. I'm assuming because of COVID and like the transition from at school to into remote schooling. That probably played a role because I'm pretty sure they said that the mother left them in the house since 2020, which means that 4 to 5 years had passed, which means the children would have been like 10 to 11 for the boy, 9 to 8 for the one girl, and 7 or 8 to the other one. So 7 to 11. They were young. They were fairly young, like one of them being a preteen, which I guess it's a little bit odd, but you would think that they were a little bit old enough to learn how to brush their teeth by now, but I guess also considering again lack of hygiene equipment, so they haven't been doing it for years, which probably severely fucked up their teeth and their bodies. But still, they were still fairly young when she abandoned them, and they started their teen years living in squatters like filthy animals. That's sick. But anyways, um, their father had been in jail when their mother abandoned them, he said, but she denied him visitation rights once he was released. Of course, that makes perfect sense be- in one way. Or wait. If she denied them visitation rights as he was released, like during their imprisonment, that would make sense because she did not want him to see her children in such a state. So she did not want him to like, yeah, clearly she did not want him to report her to the authorities if he discovered those children in that state. But also again telling that one of the fathers, or I guess the fathers of these children, was an inmate, or got arrested, or was a criminal. Very telling. Again, just love them criminal pookies out here. Let's see. However, the mother did either drop off or send the children food once a week, often using delivery services like Instacart and DoorDash, ensuring no one ever entered the condo. Police believe the mother abandoned her children, yep, 2020 or 2021, meaning they had lived alone for at least 4 years. The children spent their days watching television or playing video games. The sisters told police they only went outside twice in that time, once to touch grass and another time to check the mail. The mother was arrested at another location without incident. The sheriff office is now collecting financial donations to help the children with educational resources and other supplies. All right, and that's the end of the story of this article, I mean. But like, yeah, okay. Almost forgot that they said that like the children only went outside twice within that time spread. Man. And they were imprisoned during COVID period, which made it so much easier for her to just abandon her children because most people were practicing the social distancing, the staying at home, and the limiting outside interactions. And same thing for, like I said earlier, the schools. Like they were integrating like the online classes. But like the mother, I guess she pretty much said like, F these kids. Like I don't want to teach these kids. I don't want to stay inside with these kids all this time. So she just like bounced, I guess. Like she wants to party. Now here's the Facebook post. I think this one is just saying, yeah, we have arrested the Pontiac woman in a child abuse case. Blah 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 blah. An experience a scenario. Blah blah blah. This has been blah blah blah. The young girls have been deprived of any interaction with their mother and have not received education years. Private consequences. Let me see the rest of this. Here's the official statement, I guess. Mother arrested of abandoning 3 young children and leaving them alone. Oh, blah blah blah. Children. 34-year-old mother has not been identified. Blah blah blah. Through the statement. 2 sisters, custody care. The landlord contacted the computer. Of course, the landlords are not going to pay attention because as long as they get their money. Neighbors didn't suspect a thing. Well, once again, this was during the COVID period, so nobody was interacting in person as much. Is there any new information? Has not. And then blah blah blah. Neighbors were unaware. Never saw them outside. They did see the mother drop things off at their home each month. And this is just a picture of trash, garbage. Ugh. Yeah, so germaphobe it's getting me to freak out a bit. So yeah, there's nothing here that says about the fact that yeah, I read some news article again that she has like 4 children in total, and one of them, and I guess 2 baby daddies. Because they also said that fourth child, she doesn't have full custody of that child anymore. Which is like, okay, they didn't mention it here. Oh, let's see. I think this is the news article here. They should have more
This
news,
morning,
right?
we're turning the spotlight on
Nope.
a horrifying discovery in Michigan. Officers finding 3 siblings living alone in deplorable conditions. And now their mother's waking up behind bars. This is what it looked like inside. And my friends, we even had to blur some of these images because it's just too disgusting. This home was filled with garbage and human waste, and the 2 girls and 1 boy, ages 15, 13, and 12, had been living like this for years. Years. Neighbors are stunned.
Of course they are.
Everybody's upset about it. Like, oh my God, this is right in our neighborhood. How could something like this happen?
Let's see, is there anything
My
new?
goodness. Now, this 30. Well, Dr. Jason Piccolo and, of course, attorney Casey are early. He is standing by with us remotely to dig into this case. Dr. Jason, you've come upon many scenes in your career. How do you think nobody knew about this?
You know, the thing is they were sheltered. They were in place, and they were so scared to leave. Listen, when you live in your neighborhood, do you really look around at your neighbors? Do you see them that much? You know, my last neighborhood I lived in, I hardly ever saw my neighbors. So who's going to report it? And if they did see something, who do they report it to? So yes, they were sheltered and too scared to leave. So it's just a horrible situation, absolutely horrible.
Yeah, makes sense. Especially, again, we live in a very individual, individualistic society. We're a very big urban society. Like we don't live in these small picket fence, small towns where everybody talks to each other, knows each other. Like no, there's like so many people who just like to and love to and really like to mind their own business. We live in those times. It's just what it is. That just leaves people substantially more vulnerable, especially vulnerable people, to being abused, neglected, like trapped and imprisoned. Like these types of cases are really tragic. Like, mm, yeah, especially again during the COVID times where DV rates were rising up during those times because people were trapped with their abusive significant others and children were trapped with their abusive parents. and like didn't really escape. It tracks.
It really is. Casey, we talk all the time, not only are you such an outstanding lawyer, you're an outstanding mom too. And a lot of times, your experience as a mother will inform things you think about in the courtroom and themes in trials. What do you think about this when you hear about the mom waking up behind bars and nobody knew what was happening in her home?
As she should. Julie, my heart breaks. I'll be quite honest because I'm taking it from a perspective as a mother. Being a mother of 4 children, when I read this story, I could not understand how is it that you can abandon your children. I've heard of the 3 to 4 day drug binges, but 3 to 4 years. Um, I would say the system did fail the children, and here's why. I know that they were abandoned around COVID. So even if they were online
Mm-hmm.
schooling, is there not a system in place to see that these children have not been in school? And then thank
Yeah,
goodness she
that's a
stopped
good.
paying her rent because who knows how long this could have gone. I really thank goodness for the
Yeah.
landlord as well because he is the one that called for the welfare check. But the weekly drop off of food, the house was filthy as expected because they were children. The human waste, the mold, the garbage was reported to be as high as 4 feet. My heart breaks for these children. And this is why, side note, that we have to pray even when we don't know who the victims are. And not only does she need severe punishment, but obviously she needs counseling. And I'll say this last thing: the family. The children are now with relatives. So you mean to tell me the same relative that these children are with did not check on these children between the 3 to 4 years that there was weekly drop-offs? And whoever dropped off that food, they too should be punished because I'm pretty sure that there were smells and they saw and witnessed what these children were experiencing. So I'm just heartbroken by this, and I pray that our children are saved.
I love everything you said, Casey. I thank you for all
Mm.
of that. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's a fair point about the family members. I'm not sure too much about like the people delivering the food. Like I don't think that's any of their business. I don't think they should be punished because they're not responsible for the well-being of these children, especially, going out to someone's house. Like they didn't want to risk punishments for alleged potentially breaking and entering. Like like they said, like that what that guy said before. Like the children were very much afraid to leave their homes. They're probably like taught and like instilled by the mother to never open the door for anybody who isn't her or anyone who's trusted and just stay inside the whole time. Like the delivery guys, like I'm not sure, but the rest of the relatives, yeah, I do agree. Like they didn't contact the children, like or her at all throughout the last years, like the years where they were inside. Like, come on. Like the baby daddy at least try to do contact them somewhat and try to get custody somehow. Of course, the mother tried to stop them, but I guess maybe the mother did also try to intercept with the members too, like trying to convince them that they're fine. Maybe she planned that far ahead, like to deliberately make sure to keep the children isolated from society as much as possible. As much as possible. She probably thought that far ahead, which probably further supports the strong indications that this was probably very much premeditated child abandonment and neglect. Like she thought of this ahead and just decided, yeah, she wanted to just let them go or just leave and keep them in a prison.
Think about it, the last point you just made about how people who, the DoorDash delivery person, whoever it is dropping off something, you know, you might think, oh gosh, do I see something that looks, I think we're in a day and age where everybody just wants to head down, mind their business, where we need, do we not, Jason Piccolo, more people making a
That's fair.
complaint. That's how oftentimes officers get the complaints about all the animals that have overrun a house, right? Somebody sees something when a neighbor opens a door. In fact, I got a clip from the sheriff. Let's take a look at his reaction.
It kind of reminds me of the commercials you see where animals are living in very deplorable conditions. Well, kind of take that time
I'm gonna
How
skip
can
this part.
anything get done?
We need a robust PR campaign for the police. And even if it's not just the police, the social work, the people will need to know that they can step up, they can see something, say something, and then report it and not be in fear themselves. You know, a lot of times people are afraid to go to the police with anything they have going on, so they don't want to rely on them. So have anonymous reporting, have some sort of system in place so they can do their investigation.
Right, right. This was just, it's hard to, it's unspeakable, yet it happened. Yeah, this was going on. I mean,
I just skipped a little bit because they're just
is the
regurgitating
boy,
opinions.
apparently they found it. No one
Mother has contacted the boys, not seen them yet. Children, girls. Yeah.
had gone to school. So for years, they're not, you realize just how dependent children are on mom and dad.
Indeed, Julie. I mean, we are nurturers. We guide, advise, love, care for our children. And they didn't have it. So they didn't know the difference between right and wrong. They didn't know that they had to clean up because they didn't have.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, the rest is just like more opinion stuff. Like I want to see more stuff. Like this is I think an update because yeah, I saw this point here saying the mother
With
could
Bonnie
be
Crombie, it's all
the mother could be facing up to life in prison,
Advil
which
Plus this season.
yep, I vehemently support this verdict.
New Buckley soothing mixture with the
If not that, like at least for a very
Stunning
long
new
time.
developments in the case of 3 Michigan
At least until the children are like fully grown adults. Like she should not be able to come back anytime and try to claim custody for these kids. No.
children abandoned by their mother, police say, and left to fend for themselves for years. Look at this. We now got mom's
Yeah.
mugshot. This is 34-year-old Kelly Bryant. She is the
There it
accused,
is.
waking up behind bars this morning, accused of 3 counts of first-degree child abuse, looking at life in prison if she is convicted. Officers found the children, siblings
There you go.
ages 15, 13, and 12, an older boy and 2 younger girls, when the landlord asked for a welfare check. Look at these pictures. So the landlord called attention to the police for the welfare check because Bryant stopped paying her rent in October.
It's so crazy that it took until like her not paying her rent on time for her to get caught, but here we are. At least her being broke saved her children's lives. Thank God for brokenness in this case.
The defendant instructed the kids that they were not to answer the door or leave the house. All 3 children expressed fear about what their mother's response would be if they left the home. Defendant concealed the children from family and friends and lied about who was caring for the kids and their whereabouts.
Check something
It's
out.
believed that the children had been living like that for 4 years. Can you imagine not being allowed to leave the house? The mother allegedly put fear in them, fear, if they would have left that house, of what would have happened to them. So now we're wondering, what's mom's defense going to be? Let's talk about it. Let's bring in our legal eagles. Still with me, attorneys John Phillips and Michael J. Brown. I want to welcome into the conversation private investigator, former law enforcement officer, and military serviceman Manuel Gomez. Manuel, let me start with you. Your reaction to this case, and what do you think the defense for mom may be at trial?
Well, you know, in this case, morally, there is plenty of responsibility to go around for how this happened. First of all, the system failed on so many levels. One of the levels that really disturbed me, in 2022, she went to court with her 4th baby's father, and she turned around
There
and
we go.
he was petitioning for visitation. She told in court that she cannot support herself, she can't support the kids, she's not capable. And at that point, they should have ordered a wellness check. Nothing was done. And besides that, okay, Board of Ed should have sent a truant officer. These kids were in school during the duration they lived at this residence. And the fact of the matter is, the Board of Ed dropped the ball. Nobody sent anybody. Now, the mother could say they were transferred to another school. But the fact of the matter is, You would have to transfer the educational records. Nothing was ever transferred. There's so many levels here. And I
Yep, not surprised. Not surprised in the slightest. Mother was financially unstable, had multiple children outside of wedlock, like produced with a man who went to jail. The system itself did not do its due diligence to make sure that these children were in a environment that was conducive of their well-being. As usual, very just very flawed. Like many of these systems all across these countries, not even just America, consistently flawed. And I feel like a lot of people, especially people, not just like the people who are directly working within these systems, but like ordinary families should also, to an extent, try to contribute and participate in, fixing these programs and volunteer. I mean, not programs, these systems, and volunteer more and be more active. But because of this harsh economy is going to make it difficult for them to be, prioritize the stuff. And it's just like no wonder a lot of people often have fantasies about like the good old days because it's a lot more community based and people were a lot more involved in, you know, their children's lives, their lives. They had the time to not only make money but also and be able to work job, but also be more involved in their children's lives, be able to build families, have strong communities, participate in like activities and team building and all this stuff. But as companies became more greedy and money started becoming more of a priority, a lot of parents had to prioritize more on working just to keep a home afloat because they couldn't afford stuff and things were getting very expensive. Like that just destroyed that whole sense of community and society becoming far more individualized and even autonomized, like incorporating AI, robot technology, and people just staying to themselves overall.
can't see an insanity defense on this case because she was paying the utilities, paying the rent. She knew exactly what she was doing. This woman was capable and culpable.
Oh.
There's no doubt that she's going to be found guilty.
Boom. Drop the mic right there. Capable and culpable. That ought to be the prosecutor's theme, Manuel. Thank you for that. Michael J. Brown, let me go to you next, please. What?
Okay, yeah, we're good with that because we're not going to talk about the legalities here in this specific case because we have like two little story times left. So yeah, that's pretty much what the development in this case is. Tragic, look very much tragic, but at least the mother is actually, directly responsible and is facing criminal prosecution, rightfully so. Again, I do support potential life imprisonment, if not a very long prison sentence, at least until the children are full legal adults and she cannot have her she cannot grasp those children ever again. At least that long. Like I'm satisfied with this potential outcome. Also, yeah, here it says here $250 million bond. Yeah, that's how bad it was. Like very bad. Like all in all, yeah, the system here, the CPS system, CPS like failed and noticing the signs that the mother was not fit, the father at the time not fit, like nobody fit. But again, I don't think anything is going to change anytime soon overall because stuff like that just keeps happening. I've seen another case where CPS negligence on like the mother clearly an unfit mother and a father trying to get custody of the child to keep the child safe from that unfit mother led to the decease and homicide of that child by the hands of the mother. Very tragic. But we're not going to talk about it in this live because we still got one more something's here. There's the Instagram portion. There's a picture of her right there, like Come on. And the lashes extension, she was having a time of her life. I've seen other pictures of her like flashing. Like, come on. Other trash, trash, trash. Or mugshot with the dehydrated hair. Like, ugh. Yeah. So let's see. One more. Nope, not here. Is it this one? Um, we'll save this for last. So yeah, there was a story here of
He was angry. After an hour of beating the boy, police say he went unresponsive and the woman waited 5 minutes before calling 911. The boy went to the hospital where he died. The mother was booked into jail for murder.
Is young? Is she intending to come out? Oh, no, you aren't.
At a bail hearing Friday afternoon, the mother refused to appear in court. Despite that, her public defender argued for her to be released from custody.
Given her limited history and the fact that it appears that she cooperated with law enforcement and the fact that she has very limited resources, I believe she should be released.
The defense attorney said the woman is in grief at the loss of the son she is accused of killing.
I acknowledge the seriousness of these facts, but this also involves a mother losing her son and significant trauma she's experiencing from that. I also argue there'll be additional trauma on top of that.
There's a broken window at the home where police say a mother killed her 14-year-old son. A jail report says the woman told investigators her son did not complete his chores and she was angry. After an hour of beating the boy, police say he went unresponsive and the woman waited 5 minutes before calling 911. The boy went to the hospital where he died. The mother was booked into jail for murder.
Is young? Is she intending to come out? Oh, no, you aren't.
At a bail hearing Friday afternoon, the mother refused to appear in court. Police outlined the disturbing attack in a report, saying the woman mercilessly beat her child for an hour, including using an extension cord to spank him.
This assault happened over an hour. A 14-year-old child, extension cords. He struck his head, he lost consciousness, and she continued beating him, and then failed to call for emergency services.
Neighbors we spoke to said they didn't know the family well and they hadn't seen any issues. Police outlined the
okay. That was some heavy loaded stuff. This is why I am vehemently an advocate against beating your children or using physical violence towards your children. This is one of the plethora of factors and reasons as to why children grow up to be violent, psychopathic people. They are raised by violent, psychopathic parents who have no sense of emotional self regulation and control. And this is not specifically like a mother thing, it's a father thing too, it's a parent thing. Like old school parenting, this is why I don't believe in putting your hands on a child. Like research has consistently been proven to show that corporal punishment is not an effective disciplinary method for your children. In fact, I would argue that it would lead to your children being abusive themselves and resolving all of their problems that they encounter with violence. Like you're enabling your child to solve all their problems with violence. If you if if it's illegal for you to assault random strangers in the streets when you're in an argument with them or you have a conflict with them, what makes you think it's okay to put your hands on your kids? And some of these people who support putting their hands on children in general will try to support it in some type of way, whether it be like, oh, just don't go overboard or don't, you'll just do a light thing. But like, that's a slippery slope because if you're constantly accustomed to resort to physically hitting your children, like, at what point do you just go ballistic and unleash your rage on them? Because that's ultimately what it is. Like, you're unleashing your emotional frustrations onto your children. You're not disciplining them. Violence is not a disciplinary method. It doesn't work. You're not actually, that's not a punishment. This is just a crime. This is just full blown crime. It's full blown abuse. If it's abusive, if you put when you put your hands on your partner, what makes you think it's okay to do it to your children? Again, you can apply this logic towards any other group of people. There's some people who will justify doing it to your own kids. Like, I don't understand that. So yeah, this is just another summary of like physically beating your children go too far. And then some comments like she had him at 15, which can explain some thought. Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense. Having to raise a child as a child explains some stuff. She was mad at the father, decided to project on the child. Okay, and that's a woman who hated his father. It's like, sorry, but you know you had a troubled child and you couldn't handle him. Boot camp is a lot way ways it could help. Not killing your own child. Come on now, lady. Every day I get on this app and remind to be thankful for the mama I had. It's never that damn serious. Shaking my head. I understand being upset for not listening, but this was way too far. She had anger issues and always yelled at her children for what the family said. And the story of her, she thought it was the father. That's an interesting theory. Probably that played a role, some kind of role too. But right, nope. Whoopings aren't the problem. It's overdoing the whooping that makes it a problem and abuse. No, it's just a slippery. Like I said, this is just a slippery slope. If you keep doing it, you're probably going to eventually go overboard because you're accustomed to solving your problems by putting your hands on children. 15. Oh, whatever. So I found this New York Post article, which is hopefully there's some more information here because they did talk briefly about the court hearing. She and the mother is accused of being returned for death with extension cord because he didn't finish his chores. Went too far while spanking him. That's not spanking. I d- no, I don't care about your ad markers. Give me. She was angry. Angry enough to not only like beat your kids, but also break glass and stuff. Okay, it seems like this keep they refusing to try. She failed to appear at court during a bail hearing. Yeah, at least over trauma. Trauma of what? Okay, there's nothing else to be said here. It's just, again, this is why I'm against resolving your problems like this. Again, unfortunately, I also have disclosed that this is like very predominantly like a black parent type of stuff to do. Yeah, I know that the white households do it too, but it's like a lot more common among the black parents, the Asian parents, the Arab parents, like the non-white parents. It's a lot more common in these households. Like, but like this stuff needs to go. Like it needs to go. Like it needs to end. It needs to end. Like no more. Like no more trying to solve your problems by using violence. Like just take away. Like there are many other solutions. Take away his games. Take away his privileges. Don't let him go out. There's make him do exercises. If he's not listening. But yeah, again, just a senseless tragedy due to accustomed parental disciplinary or traditional disciplinary methods. And that's why I'm also glad that they removed that from schools as well, because and I was not born during the time where putting your hands on students was okay. That's all I have to say about that. For so Here's the last little article here. I mean, not article, but a post by the Queen of Accountability. So, let's see. I'm gonna restart because it's a long minute, but there's no like link.
Get the fuck in the car. Get in the car. Nah, bitch, get in that car. Get in the car. Get the fuck in the car. I'm not playing with you. Get the fuck in the car. Get the fuck in the car. Quit playing with me, bro. Quit fucking playing with me.
Son looks
I'll pop you with this
scared.
motherfucking brush, nigga. Sit your bitch ass down. Listen, Ernest.
Ew.
Tell Kennard to give it to you. The trunk. Shut your bitch ass up. Where my gas tank all close is? What is that in that bottle? Is that gas?
No, that's that juice.
Oh. This bitch done saved today. Fuck you, DPD.
I'm always saying.
You always beat me. You always beat DPD.
Oh, you sending her?
Now this bitch can go with you. Cause I'm about to beat this bitch ass. Tell that bitch to get in Ashley car.
Tell him to come out.
This bitch done ran back up her Ashley. It was over there. It was over there. Bitch, the dog came and that bitch ran back up the hill. Look at this bitch.
Why is she talking to her kids like this?
Get the fuck in the car. Shut your bitch ass up. Shut up. What you want to do? What? What? What you want to do? Get your bitch ass in the motherfucker car. Fight, bitch. Fight. Fight.
Don't do it.
Oh,
No,
dear.
no.
Oh,
No.
dear.
Come on, Pearl. This your mama at the
Come
end
on.
of the day.
Come on. Come on, bitch. Come on. Come on. Bitch, I'm gonna beat your bitch ass up. I'm gonna beat you up, bitch. I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna beat you up, bitch. Nah, bitch, don't be trying to close that door. Cause he called.
This was just revolting. Ugh. Like, what kind of parent talks to their kids like this? The fuck was wrong with her? This chain smoking, raggedy dog ass woman, mutt woman, talking to her kids like that. Like, you can, yeah, you can see the fear in in his eyes. Seemingly the one of the eldest kids or the eldest one, like saying bitch every 2 seconds, and like, come on, like. I can't fathom parents who talk to their children like there's some random hood rats from the streets or some random ghetto sewer rat from the club. Like they're just at a club or in the streets or in the hood. Like, no, these are your kids. Man, those are your kids. Like, what kind of power trip are you on to just gang up on your child like that? Like, my God. Yeah, and that friend of hers is just giggling and laughing like you should stop. She should have reprimanded her for talking to her kids like that. Like I've seen so many videos of like the like re-uploaded videos from like the Snapchat and the World of Hip Hop, that website. Like, oh my God, that takes me that takes people back. Like I've seen re-uploaded videos of like those parents who literally embarrass their children online and borderline like abuse them this way, like making them degrade themselves online instead of actually parenting or actually being a parent. It's like, and judging on this image, it's like it's most definitely giving off like she is a single mom with multiple kids, no father is present, mother's trash herself, father probably trash as well. Like it's just again, these are all reoccurring patterns of the next generation of children, you guys. Like, these are what a lot of these types of kids, especially those in the black community, are being raised by. Just incompetent parents left and right. Like, the Queen of Accountability posts this perfectly well. This high caloried, aggressive mother ran out of gas on the freeway and expected her 14-year-old son to walk almost 10 miles to get gas. The 14-year-old son refused and was berated and attacked by his mother. You can see the fear in his eyes. Her high calorie friend showed up to help, saw the mother abusing her son, and offered to drive him in her car. I stopped the video so you wouldn't see her fighting her son. I actually cried. Damn, like, yeah, this seems like just a clip of the video, but if she actually did put her hands on her son, that's just extra crap cherry on the cake. Crap cake. Let's see. Her friend should have immediately got her off the son and called the police. As I stated before, women say nothing when it's a woman doing the abuse. Luckily, CPS was called and all the children were removed from her custody. Thank goodness. Another deadbeat mother will be held accountable. Women never hold their friends accountable, no matter the crime. I will. I don't care if you're my friend or enemy. If you do wrong, I'm on your ass. F the sisterhood. This is unacceptable and highlights why boys need their fathers. Imagine what the father went through when he was with her. If any man had experienced the type of abuse, please email me. Want the center I want to center and show around this topic and needs to be talked about. Then they wonder why our black men grow up resenting black women. Here is a big example. I get it, but it can also happen the other way around. But I do understand a lot of the resentment these children, and not just resent, but like the psychological impact of these children growing up with people like that. It's just unfathomable. Like it's very stressful. But yeah, I also heavily agree that a lot of the times when you see a lot of women doing stuff like that, it's in my personal honest belief, I find it women are far less likely to hold other women account while doing terrible stuff like this, especially if they're doing terrible things to a man, which makes sense to agree because these types of women who do these horrible things, they're typically surrounded by other women who also do terrible similar things to them. You know, birds of a feather flock together. Makes tons of sense. Not just on, and I'm not just talking about on social media because I've seen so many cases on social media, but you also see it in real life as well. Like again, birds of a feather flock together. They're gonna never hold themselves accountable or each other accountable, or rarely ever do. And anytime, in my also personal experience, whenever a woman does try to hold other women accountable or call them out for their and disgusting behavior, a lot of the times they do face backlash from the sisterhood, the group of women enabling women who just enable their terrible behavior. They will drag the hell out of that woman who dares try to speak out. Like they will make her suffer, and I've seen that firsthand. They will post the most disgusting comments. They will do everything to try to tear that woman down, which I already expressed my point about the sisterhood. Fake, two-faced, virtue signaling, fake morality, outrage. Like they're just trying to present themselves so that like holier than now. Like they're just putting up a front. It's just a colony of toxic women enabling other toxic women. Like the only genuine instance of a sisterhood is by women who have very close relationships and close bonds that can actually maintain a sisterhood. Like not random women on the internet. Like it's very less likely you'll see random women on the internet actually having that type of actual commitment and bond. You would like if it was like sisters or very close friends, like yeah, that would be a sisterhood. Like you can see that. But it's like fake and pretentious, not the fake pretentious sister on the internet. But yeah, that's about all for the story time or like these reviews that we have for these terrible ass moms that are just running amok around not just in the states. I know all of these stories revolved around the states, but it's honestly everywhere. But once again, I'm just here to highlight that stuff because once again, there's such a strong societal um, bias towards women and and more specifically mothers who do bad. Like no wonder like Jeanette McCurdy's book I'm Glad My Mom Died like managed to attract lots of people's attention because it's very taboo to talk about terrible mothers because there's still this general societal consensus consensus that like all mothers are these amazing, wonderful uh, beings who can never do any wrong, or and whenever they do blame wrong, there's like a strong instance of people automatically resorting to sympathy or empathy or creating the story in their head that they're just tragic victims of external circumstances without taking any accounts like their choices and their actions unless it's like something super extreme, like it has to be so extreme in that it's practically like inexcusable or unforgivable, but even still, like there's this strong basis. And yeah, I'm just tired of the BS. I just want to highlight the stuff. So that's all that I'm gonna have for this week. Next week I'm gonna stream another similar episode, but I think I'm gonna talk more about like the mommy vloggers, these mommy channels. Like I'm gonna be talking about specifically at least one or maybe two like TikTok toxic moms that I wanted to dive into while they're still a bit relevant at the time. So yeah, that's it. That's it for the this stream. Like it's been over 2 hours since I've been streaming. Thank you guys for sticking to the stream. Sorry if I've seemed very rambly, but I guess that's just my style. So yeah, and that's going to be it for tonight. So thank you guys for sticking in. So see you guys next week for, like I said, the mommy vlogger edition um, episode of Whack Ass Moms. So see you guys. It's like midnight already, so I'm gonna end this here. So bye.